When we look up at the night sky, we see the moon. It is the most familiar object in the heavens. We think we know what it is. A dead rock. A natural satellite formed billions of years ago by a random collision. But what if I told you that the moon is not what you think it is? What if the math of the moon doesn't add up? What if the craters are wrong? What if the density is impossible? In the 1960s, two Russian scientists from the Soviet Academy of Sciences proposed a shocking theory. They suggested that the moon is not a natural object at all. They claimed it is a hollow artificial construct, a spaceship, a massive Death Star parked in our orbit eons ago by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. Today, we are going to investigate the hollow moon theory. We will look at the seismic data from the Apollo missions that showed the moon ringing like a bell for hours. We will analyze the statistical impossibility of a perfect solar eclipse, and we will ask the question, is the moon actually a base? A monitoring station watching humanity? To understand why scientists question the moon, you have to look at the anomalies. Anomaly number 1, the size and distance. The Sun is 400 times larger than the moon. But the Sun is also 400 times further away from Earth than the moon. Because of this incredible mathematical coincidence, the Sun and the moon appear to be exactly the same size in our sky. This is what allows for a total solar eclipse, where the moon perfectly covers the disk of the Sun, blocking the light but showing the corona. Astronomers admit this is a cosmic accident. There is no other known planet in the universe with a moon that fits this ratio perfectly. Isaac Asimov, the famous science fiction writer and professor of biochemistry, said, "By all rights, the moon shouldn't be there. It is too big for a planet of our size. Mars has 2 tiny moons. Earth has a giant one. The odds of this happening by chance are astronomical. It looks like it was placed there, placed at the precise distance to stabilize Earth's wobble and create the tides necessary for life." Anomaly number 2, the density. If the moon was a solid rock formed from the Earth, it should have a similar density, but it doesn't. The Earth's density is 5.5 grams per cubic centimeter. The moon's density is only 3.34. This suggests that the moon is significantly lighter than it should be. Dr. Gordon MacDonald, a scientist at NASA in the 1960s, stated, "It would seem that the moon is more like a hollow than a homogeneous sphere." Nobel Prize winner Harold Urey was baffled by the low density. He said he couldn't explain how the moon could exist without being hollow inside. But natural objects are not hollow. Planets don't form with giant air pockets, unless they are not planets, unless they are hulls. This brings us to anomaly number 3, the ringing. During the Apollo missions, NASA performed a series of seismic experiments. On November 20th, 1969, the Apollo 12 crew jettisoned their lunar module ascent stage. They crashed it onto the surface of the moon to create a mini-earthquake. They expected a small thud. What they got was a shockwave that lasted for almost an hour. The seismometers recorded the moon vibrating like a giant bell. Maurice Ewing, a co-director of the seismic experiment, told the press, "For those of us in the business, it is an extraordinary event. It rang like a bell." Later, Apollo 13 crashed a heavier booster rocket into the moon. This time, it rang for over 3 hours. The vibrations traveled 25 miles deep. Solid rock does not ring. Solid rock dampens vibration. The only thing that rings is a hollow metal sphere, a structure with a shell. This supports the Spaceship Moon theory proposed by Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Shcherbakov. They argued that the moon is a hollowed-out planetoid, reinforced with a metallic shell to withstand space travel. They believe the interior was filled with fuel tanks, machinery, and living quarters for a civilization. Anomaly number 4, the craters. The surface of the moon is covered in impact craters from billions of years of asteroid bombardment. Some of these craters, like the Bailey crater, are nearly 200 miles wide. If a rock big enough to create a 200-mile-wide crater hit Earth, it would dig miles deep into the crust. But on the moon, the craters are strangely shallow. The Gagarin crater is 186 miles wide, but only 4 miles deep. It looks like the asteroid hit something impenetrable just below the surface. It blasted away the dust, but it couldn't crack the armor. Vasin and Shcherbakov suggested that beneath the lunar regolith, dust, lies a 20-mile-thick hull of titanium, or unknown alloy. This explains why the crater floors are convex, bulging out, rather than concave. The hull absorbed the shock. And speaking of titanium, the Moon is rich in it. The lunar rocks brought back by Apollo contained 10 times more titanium than titanium-rich rocks on Earth. Titanium is the metal we use to build supersonic jets, submarines, and spacecraft. It is light, strong, and heat-resistant. Why would a natural moon be made of the perfect material for building a spaceship hull? Dr. Harold Urey admitted he was terribly puzzled by the titanium content. It defied the standard model of chemistry. Anomaly number 5. The dark side of the Moon. The Moon is tidally locked to Earth. It rotates at the exact same speed that it orbits. This means we only ever see one face of the Moon. The far side is always turned away from us. This is extremely convenient if you want to hide something. If you were an alien species observing Earth, where would you put your base? You would put it on the dark side of the Moon. It allows you to be close, but invisible to the primitives below. Astronauts and whistleblowers have hinted at structures on the far side. Carl Wolf, a former U.S. Air Force sergeant, claimed he saw photographs from the lunar orbiter showing a base on the far side. He described geometric shapes, towers, and spherical buildings that looked like radar dishes. He said he was told by his superiors that they had discovered a base made by intelligent beings. And then there is the Ingo Swann story. Ingo Swann was a famous remote viewer who worked with the CIA and SRI, Stanford Research Institute. He claimed that he was asked to remote view the Moon. When he projected his consciousness to the dark side, he saw massive towers and mining operations. But then he saw something that terrified him. He saw beings. He said they were naked humanoid figures digging into the side of a cliff, and then they stopped. They looked up. They saw him. He panicked. He snapped back to his body. He told his handlers, "They saw me." The CIA handlers weren't surprised. They knew. That's why they sent him. Is the Moon an active base? Are they mining the helium-3 or the titanium? Let's look at the historical records. The time before the Moon. Aristotle wrote about a people called the Proselenes who lived in Arcadia, Greece. The name Proselenes means before the Moon. They claimed their ancestors lived on Earth before the Moon was in the sky. Similar legends exist in Zulu mythology. Credo Mutwa, the Zulu shaman, told the story of how the Moon was brought here. He said 2 brothers, Wawane and Mpanku, stole the Moon from a great fire dragon and rolled it across the sky to Earth. They did this to watch over humanity. But the Moon brought catastrophe. It caused floods. It changed the climate. It altered the rotation of the Earth. This aligns with the geological theory that the capture of the Moon would have caused massive tsunamis and earthquakes. The Younger Dryas period, the Great Flood. Was the arrival of the Moon the trigger for the cataclysm that destroyed Atlantis? If the Moon is artificial, who built it? The theories range from the Reptilians, as per David Icke, to the Anunnaki, to a future version of humanity. But the purpose seems clear: control. The Moon controls the tides. It controls the biological cycles of animals. It affects the human menstrual cycle. Some esoteric teachers, like Gurdjieff, believe the Moon feeds on human emotional energy. They called it food for the Moon. They believed that wars and suffering on Earth release energy that is harvested by the satellite. Is the Moon a frequency generator? We know it reflects light. Does it also reflect or project a signal? Is it the broadcasting tower that keeps us locked in the third density matrix? We haven't been back to the Moon since 1972. Why? We have the technology, we have the money. Official story, it's too expensive and there's nothing there. Unofficial story, we were warned off. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin allegedly saw UFOs on the rim of a crater during the Apollo 11 landing. There are reports of a secret transmission where Armstrong said, "These babies are huge, sir, enormous. They are lined up on the other side of the crater." If the Moon is occupied territory, it explains why we stopped going. It explains why we are focusing on Mars instead. But now, the rush is back. China is going to the Moon. The US is going back with Artemis. Why now? Has the treaty expired? Or are they going to retrieve something? There is a strange object called the Shard visible in lunar photography. It is a towering structure that rises miles above the surface. It casts a long shadow. Nature does not build mile-high spikes. And there is the tower, a structure that looks remarkably like the Shard in London. NASA edits these photos. They blur them. They call them artifacts of the camera. But the consistency of the anomalies suggests otherwise. There are also transient lunar phenomena, TLP. For centuries, astronomers have observed strange lights on the moon, flashes of red and blue, clouds of gas appearing and disappearing. If the moon is a dead rock, there should be no gas. There should be no lights. But if it is a machine, maybe we are seeing the exhaust vents. Maybe we are seeing the lights of the maintenance crews. The hollow moon theory is the ultimate forbidden geography. It changes the moon from a poetic nightlight into a technological oppressor. It forces us to realize that our solar system might be engineered. If the moon was placed here to sustain life, were we placed here too? Is Earth a terrarium? And is the moon the heat lamp and the camera? Think about the movie The Truman Show. The moon was the control room. Fiction often hides the truth in plain sight. The Death Star in Star Wars looks exactly like Mimas, a moon of Saturn. George Lucas knew something. The archetypes are deep in our subconscious. The moon feels wrong. It feels cold. It feels watchful. Unlike the sun, which gives life, the moon mimics light. It is a mirror, an illusion. So, when you look at the moon tonight, try to see past the craters. Try to see the geometry, the titanium shell beneath the dust, the ancient ringing bell that hangs over our heads. Is it protecting us, or is it imprisoning us? What do you think? Is the moon a hollow spaceship? Do you believe the Proselenes who said there was a time before the moon? And why did we really stop going there for 50 years? Tell me your theory in the comments! We have explored the sky. Now we must explore the technology that powers the ancient world. We think electricity is a modern invention. But we are wrong. In the next video, we are going to travel to Iraq. We are going to investigate the Baghdad battery. A clay pot, a copper cylinder, and an iron rod found in ruins from 200 BC. Did the ancients have electric light? Did they use it to electroplate gold? You need to be subscribed, because we are going to plug into the lost current.